The one last thing that is still needs some clarification is even after we establish the possibility, according to Torah, that certain tzaddikim, when it says that they died or when we see they pass away, it's not to be understood in the literal sense because there always remains a connection between body and soul. The question is, why would people insist on that? That's the question. People like it. What's wrong to say that the tzaddik lives on spiritually? Why would there be such an insistence? Meaning, what satisfaction does someone get by insisting that he needs? Why is that such a need to have to say that the tzaddik is physically alive in the body? I mean, we the Jewish people relate to the spiritual as a very real thing. So what's wrong if he's spiritually alive? What does he have to be physically alive? So the truth is, we talk about by Chabad Chassidim. It's interesting that the Lubavitch Rebbe insisted regarding his father-in-law, after his father-in-law passed away in 1950, that nothing changed, and that the life of the previous Chabad Rebbe has only been altered to our senses, but not be'emes. And there he explains how the Nasi Adar continues to live exactly like he was before. There was very strong insistence, not just once, but again and again and again and again. He even says in a talk that it's only a nisayon, it's only a test le'einenu. Now, regarding to that particular case, by the sixth Chabad Rebbe, Rabbi Yosef Yitzchak, when the Rebbe insists that he lives on, we know that the same explanation that he gives regarding to Moshe Rabbeinu, that when we say Moshe Rabbeinu continues living and he lives even in the physical sense, one of the explanations that he gives is the idea that is pashtusa de Moshe b'chol dara v'dara, that the ispashtus of Moshe Rabbeinu is in every generation. That means that Moshe Rabbeinu's neshama continues to live on through the tzaddikim that are alive. So he's living in a body. His neshama literally enters the guf of the tzaddikim, or especially the biggest tzaddik of the generation, in which embodies Moshe Rabbeinu's neshama. So in that sense, it would be feasible to understand that when the Rebbe is insisting that the previous Rebbe is alive, he's insisting on that being alive in the physical body regarding himself, that the neshama of his father-in-law, the shever, is alive in him, and that's why he's still alive in the physical body. But that would be when we're dealing with the sixth to the seventh generation. But when you're dealing in the seventh generation itself, regarding the Rebbe himself, why would Chassidim be so insisting on the non-changing element regarding the physical body of their Rebbe? Why is that so negeya? So I think the nekuda is, and this is what it seems like, the conviction regarding this is as follows. The reason we say regarding Dafka Yaakov Avinu and Dafka Moshe Rabbeinu loy meis, from all the other tzaddikim that there are, so many other tremendous tzaddikim to the Jewish people, and Dafka by Yaakov Avinu and Moshe Rabbeinu we say loy meis, is related that they personify emes. In other words, even though every tzaddik is emes, if you're sheker, if you're a lie, then you're not a tzaddik, you're an imposter. So, but there is an emes itself. There's many dargis in emes. For instance, we don't say about Avram and Yitzchak that they are emes. Avram's midah is chesed, Yitzchak's midah is gevura, and Yaakov's midah is midah emes. Titein emes liYaakov. And mitzad the emes of Yaakov, regarding to the truth, truth is something that doesn't end. Truth has to last forever. It says in the pasuk, Sfas emes tikoin la'ad, that the language of truth is established and lasts forever. Va'adar gia, and if it calms down, l'shoin sheker, it's the tongue of falseness. Which means that a true amitist, a real emes, truly emes doesn't only mean not false, it means that something that truly is has to always be, can't stop. Because if it can cease to be is a sign that even when it wasn't absolutely true. And the proof that we spoke about this in other classes, from a halacha. The halacha is regarding water that we need for para aduma, so it has to be mayim chayim. It has to be for the water that is mixed for it's called mei chatas, the water of the carbon, for the red heifer to purify from a dead body, has to be mayim chaim, living waters. The Gemara says what's called living waters. So the Talmud says that if you have a river, a nahar, that is machasvois, that dries up once in 7 years, the waters that are in it are not called mayim chaim, and the Gemara refers to it as naharis hamachazvois. They are deceiving rivers. It's a deceptive river. And the reason for that is, if the river is truly a river, that means that this is a place that inherently has a flow of water to it, then it should be so in all circumstances. If there are times that this water dries up, is a sign that the relationship of the place to the water is circumstantial. It happens to be that there's a lot of snow melt and therefore water flows in this place, but it's not inherent. When something is inherent, it means it's always there. How do you know if something is essential to somebody? How do you know if a certain character that you have, a certain nature, a certain behavior is inherent to you, or it's something that you just picked up somewhere? The answer is how hard it is to change it. If it's very easily dropped and you can switch to something else, a sign it's not inherent to you. But something that is inherent to you either is very, very, very excruciatingly difficult to change, or you can never change it because it's inherent, it's who you are. And that's the idea of emes. Emes is something that's absolute. And therefore, by Yaakov Avinu, since he's emes, so his life can't be interrupted because his whole mitzias is emes. And not only is his emes on one level, in his spiritual state, he can't be interrupted. If Yaakov Avinu is emes, then in every place that he comes, he's emes. So if he comes down in a physical body, he personifies emes, which has to last forever. And if chas v'shalom he died, that means that even when he was alive, the physical Yaakov wasn't absolutely true. And that's the reason why Yaakov Avinu loy meis. The physical Yaakov is truth forever, meaning his life in his physical body has to be true forever. Moshe Rabbeinu is the same thing. So it's, and the two things go together. It's in time and in space. In time, where we say that in time he has to last forever, it's also in space. That means there can't be a certain space where he is not. If he's the emes, then he has to be everywhere, meaning on every madrega. That emes has to come through. Can't just be on. That's one of the reasons between the difference between the Torah that Moshe Rabbeinu brought us and the Torah that the Jewish people had before Moshe Rabbeinu. The Torah that we had before Moshe Rabbeinu, that Avram and Yitzchak and the Avos kept the Torah, it says was not the Torah's emes, like the Torah that we have after Matan Torah. How come it's not Torah's emes? Because they were only able to observe it in the spiritual. It didn't express itself in the physical. And the fact that it remained in one realm and it didn't carry through in all realms is a sign that it's not emes. Again, we discussed this actually I'm having an article coming out on the Hamodia in 2 weeks, Parshas Ve'era, based on a shir that we gave, which explains this idea, that when something is emes, it's through and through on every level and at all times. So Yaakov Avinu and Moshe Rabbeinu, and that's why Moshe Rabbeinu's Torah that he brings us is Moshe emes v'Torasei emes, finds expression even in the physical world as well. When it comes to the Lubavitcher Rebbe, we see an interesting thing. And that is that until the Rebbe came along, when a Jew put on tefillin, when a Yid puts on tefillin, what are you putting on tefillin? You're putting on tefillin because of a reason. What? Your father taught you, your grandfather put on tefillin. You learned so in halacha. You're inspired to put on tefillin. You like to put on tefillin. You have these set of circumstances that get you to put on tefillin, and that's why you're putting on tefillin. Therefore, when you meet another Jew who's not under the same set of circumstances, did not have parents which educated him to behave this way, did not learn in yeshiva, did not have a zayda that you have a picture on the wall wearing tefillin. You have a Jew with complete different circumstances, a Jew who lives in a complete secular reality. So, okay, he doesn't wear tefillin. It's okay. Why should he wear tefillin? I wear tefillin because of the circumstances. The Rebbe, however, insisted that every single Jew wear tefillin. Doesn't make a difference. And it doesn't make a difference and in a manner where you don't even have to educate him and bring him into a certain belief system. If you meet a Jew and you know he's a Jew and you go over to him and say, are you Jewish? You could put him on tefillin. Not only you could put it on, you should put on tefillin. And how important is this tefillin? Just as important as your tefillin is. Why? Because by the Rebbe, again, you can see that by in Yiddish you say, had geleuchten. By him it was shining, the emes of Torah. And if the truth of Torah is, if you're connected to the truth of something, so if it's true, mitzad the amitas of the Eibishter, mitzad the truth of God, which is the true truth of the world, that every Jewish arm needs to put on tefillin, not because of some circumstances, but because of truth, then every Jew has to wear tefillin. There's no difference. This is a Jew who has langa payas and shakals a lot and goes to the mikveh, and this is a Jew who just came out of a nightclub, or I guess putting on tefillin is during the day, so not nightclub or whatever, or just came out of a treifa restaurant and ate treifa. There's a difference. Tefillin is tefillin. This is the MS. It's the Eibishter's ratzon, so he has to wear tefillin. And so it is if you look at the life of the Lubavitcher Rebbe, you see it in all of his shittas. Everything is the MS. So the MS of Torah, the MS of Yiddishkeit, the MS of the Lakus. And since you see that in every aspect of him, it becomes important, not just important, it's obvious that the expression of his neshama in his body is also an inyan amiti, it's MS. And that MS of the Lakus can't stop. And therefore, Dafka Chassidim insist that it's not just he's alive spiritually, because alive spiritually means that he's in one darga and another darga is not, and that's not MS. MS, and that's why we just believe ultimately in Tchias HaMesim, because we realize that our existence in this world is an inyan amiti, it's something of truth, and therefore life has to continue on eternally. And that's the explanation.